all of his hope in football. Senior year, he broke his leg. There would be no scholarship. And that young man thought his entire life was over. I can tell you about a young man, I will not tell you his name since it was at Marmion, but it was the mid-90s, smartest kid I ever taught. His father was a lawyer. He was going to go to Harvard like his dad until he failed his first course. And he came up to me and said, Mr. Grossman, I just want to die. My life is over. There's no way I can get to Harvard and be an attorney like my father. Not from Marmion, not with an F in my record. There's no way. My life is over. I was the department chair for theology at St. Francis for crying out loud. Work hard on your grades, but please don't put your worth and value in your grades. You are not your grades. I can tell you about St. Francis. And when I was there, I was teaching sophomores, and two girls walked into my classroom. One was crying, the other one had her arm around her. And they came into my classroom and she says, you can tell Mr. Grossman it's okay. I said, whatever it is, we'll work it out. This girl pulled her crying together. She was able to then say this to me. My life is completely over, Mr. Grossman. I said, I'm sure your life is not over, honey. What's wrong? She said, I had sex with my boyfriend this weekend. And I sat there wondering, why did she tell me this? I'm thinking, she just had sex this weekend. There's no way she could have found out she was pregnant. What's going on here? I said, well, why are you telling me all this? Because she was telling me how much pain she was in. She said, because he broke up with me this morning. This girl, she made a mistake of putting her worth and value in a boy. She, of course, had sex with him because she didn't want to lose him. And by having sex with him, she lost him. I want you to have relationships. I want you to work hard on your grades, and I want you to play sports or get involved in art or music, whatever is your passion. But listen to me. A confirmed Catholic, what you got going for you is you understand that your entire worth and value does not come from all that stuff. It comes from somewhere else, and that's why I asked Nick to stay. Nick, I'm going to ask you, I know you're usually a fun guy and all that, I'm going to ask you to be very serious to help us with something, okay? I'm going to ask you to stand up in your chair for a minute. I'm going to ask everyone to be absolutely quiet and not say a word. Go ahead and stand on the chair again. I'm going to ask you all not to say a thing. I'm going to ask Nick to do something and you're just going to watch. It'll take most of you 5 seconds. After 10 seconds, some of you will not just see it, you will feel it, and it will make sense to you. I'm going to ask you to trust this. Nick, all I'm going to ask you to do is to be the oak tree like you were in the very beginning with your branches spread far and wide. Just put your head down. Nick is not an oak tree. He never was. Nick is a symbol of where we can find our hope, our worth, and our value. Nick is a symbol of where, if we put our faith here, you'll never be cut. You'll never fail. You'll never be broken up with. Someone, raise your hand and tell me, who is Nick for us? Yes, ma'am. Jesus on the cross. They tried to kill him, and they did. And he came back to life. You want to put your hope somewhere? Place your hope in the God that came back to life. A symbol of what can happen for all of us. We are not perfect people as Christians. Us Catholics, we fall short of the mark often. But what us confirmed Catholics understand as disciples of Jesus Christ is that God never walks away from us. No matter how alone you feel, you're in the dark pit of despair. You're doing self-harm. Someone close to you died. You've been broken up with, or you failed, or you don't measure up like you think you're supposed to measure up. You are not walking alone in your life. The disciples of Jesus Christ, confirmed, anointed by the Holy Spirit, have the power of God walking with them. Don't ever forget. And by the way, I took one of the goofiest kids in the whole darn gym and made him this serious. Faith transforms. Remember Nick. And Nick will bring a smile on your face because he's got that gift of joy in his heart and his soul. But inside Nick is also his faith. Give Nick one big hand. Thank you, Nick, for being So if I've got your attention now, I'm going to ask you to trust me. I've got 10 minutes left to bring this home. And it's going to start with an experience and end with a story. So listen, I now need you to trust me like never before. The adults are going to think I'm nuts. But what I'm about to do with you is pray. But we're going to pray like you're not used to praying. I'm going to have you do something very powerful. And you just got to trust me and go with it. Just got to trust me and go with it. I'm going to have you close your eyes, but this time it's not going to be for 1 minute. Focus. I'm going to take you on a journey, a spiritual journey inside your mind and your soul. And then when I let you go, you're going to be on your own. And I'm going to lead you slowly into something called centering prayer, an ancient prayer form that the mystics of the Roman Catholic Church used. St. Teresa of Avila, for instance, and other great holy men and women in the church have prayed like this. I tried this. I couldn't believe I was nutty enough to try it. I did this with 600 high school kids in a setting, and we don't have this much time, and I had them totally silent for 15 minutes. We're not going to do that. We don't have that much time. I took a big chance when I had 148th graders in the gymnasium, and the teachers thought I was nuts, and I had them quiet for 15 minutes straight. And when it's over, some of you will have done more than just experience some peace and quiet. Some of you will have a transforming spiritual experience. All you have to do is trust me and let go. I'm going to, in a minute, close your eyes. We're going to do a little deep breathing, which focuses us, centers us, and we stop thinking so much. And then I'm going to have you imagine yourself in a very sacred and holy place. And then I'm going to let you be with God. I'm going to let you be with God in total silence for about 4 or 5 minutes. All you got to do is don't worry about it. All you got to do is imagine being in God's holy presence. Some of you will end up talking to God. That's totally cool. Some of you in this gym will end up listening to God and hearing God's voice, that inner voice, that God voice, that spark of divinity that is our soul inside of us. And you'll hear that sacred voice of God. But all of you will certainly be relaxed and at peace. If you decide to blow this off and you think this is dumb and you can't stand me, then take a nap. But whatever you do, do not make a joke. Do not distract the person next to you. Do not elbow someone. Do not start laughing. I've done this with 5th graders, and you guys are far more mature than 5th grade, so you can do it. All you got to do is trust me and let go. Get in the wheelbarrow. So we're going to begin. I'm going to ask everyone to please close their eyes, and you have to close your eyes so you can go inside. If you keep your eyes open, you're going to be distracted by what you see. So eyes closed. I don't mean it to be silly. I really mean it for real. I ask you to take a deep breath. It focuses us. In fact, take 3 deep breaths and just be present to the God that is around us. Just pay attention to your breathing. And I want you to imagine that you're outside of the country. Maybe it's somewhere you've been before, or maybe it's a place that's brand new to you. Actually see the landscape, the colors. Out in front of you, there's a path. And there's a sign near the path that has your baptismal name on it. This is your path. Quietly begin to walk your path. The path is leading you to a small lake. Walk up to the edge of the water. The water is still and clear. Look down into the water and see your reflection. You see that you were made in the image and likeness of God. Your face reflects the holiness of God. As you're looking at your reflection, you hear your name called, and you look up, and you see Jesus standing in the water, calling your name. See the eyes of Jesus. Step into the water. Feel the water renewing you, refreshing you. And Jesus takes the water and blesses you with it. The sun shines down upon you both. Feel the warmth of the sun. Jesus leads you out of the waters back to shore. There's a bench there. Sit down next to Jesus and spend some quiet moments listening to him, maybe even talking with him. Be in the presence of God. Take a deep breath. Know your breath to be a prayer. Take another deep breath and remember being in this gym, in this place. And when you're ready, open your eyes and be at peace. Open your eyes and be at peace. Raise your hand silently if you felt a sense of peacefulness and quiet during that time. Raise your hand if for you it was more than just quiet time. There was something prayerful about it. Raise your hand if you'd like to do that more often. And do it. I will tell you the greatest tool as a confirmed Catholic is prayer. And you guys, that entire prayer, 5 minutes. Imagine if you did that every single day, 5 minutes a day. To just imagine being in the presence of God. And then if that works for you, you like that so much, go to Eucharistic adoration. You just sit. Just sit in the presence of God. Light a candle in your room. Burn some incense in your room. Take a walk in nature and be with your God. And our lives will slowly transform. One of my favorite ways to pray, and some of you will get this, is when I run. I literally, when I run, and I'm a pretty serious runner, I'm pretty excited this weekend. I'm going to be running in Peanut Tillman's 5K at Soldier Field this weekend. I'm very excited to get to see him. When I run, I feel God's pleasure. When I run, I actually can hear God speak with me, and I speak with God. You got to find what way works for you, but find a way to pray. In a little while, I'm going to go to Mass. It's a different way to pray. I go to Mass not because I'm supposed to. I go to Mass because I want to hear the Word of God, and I want to be fed with the Eucharist so I can go out into the world and build the kingdom, which is simply loving God and loving